Hello and welcome to ICC Women's World Cup 2025 match analysis and preview. A big match is loading for cricket lovers. In 13th match of the ICC Women's World Cup 2025, and guess what? It will be a collision between Indian women's team and Australian women's team. The two powerhouses of women's cricket will fight for ODI supremacy. So far in this tournament, Australian cricket team, they are unbeaten side of the tournament. Indian cricket team, they had a heartbreaking defeat over South African women's team in Visakh a couple of days ago. Already we have witnessed a nerve-breaking contest in this edition of ICC Women's World Cup 2025. Although Australian cricket team, they have won 2 matches, but in their first match against New Zealand women's team, they were 128 for 6. From 128 for 6, they have finished the totals on 326 runs. Ash Gardner, what a heart-stopping innings she has played against New Zealand cricket team. Single-handedly, she pulls it out of the flames for Australian women's team, and India and Australia defended the total successfully against New Zealand women's team. In their very next match, it was washed out due to rain against Sri Lankan women's team. And the previous match they played against Pakistan women's team in Colombo, we have seen an absolutely dramatic affair between Pakistan women and Australian women. Australian women's team have found themselves 78 for 7. Guess what? And we have seen the most riveting innings and the most gritty character, and she is none other than Beth Mooney produced the innings of her life. He played 109 runs innings against Pakistan women's team. She has not only pulled it out of the flames against Pakistan women's team, in the end it was a match-winning innings. She rescued Australian cricket team, no doubt about that. One stage we're thinking Australia could be bowled out for below 150 runs, but credit goes to Alana King and Beth Mooney. These two players have done significantly well for Australian cricket team against Pakistan women's team, and they had a relatively easy game in the end with the bowling. I think they have done significantly well against Pakistan women's team. Now a big contest is loading, a gripping contest is loading. It has been sold out. Crowd will come at large number to support Indian women's team. In home ground, it's going to be really challenging task for Australian women's team. They are a well-oiled machine. We all know about that. 7-time ICC Women's World Cup winner. And on the other hand, Indian cricket team, they are yet to win any ICC Women's World Cup trophy in 50-over format. Let's talk about the Indian women's journey in this edition of ICC Women's World Cup 2025. They have played 3 matches with 2 wins and 1 defeat to South African cricket team. They have accumulated 4 points. Australia and India, they are into the top 3 positions. Currently, as I'm making this video, Sri Lankan women's team and England women's team, they are fighting in Colombo. So regarding that match, points table will be updated, but I will share the points table through the visuals, and you will be able to see on the screen. On Sunday, 12th October, it's going to be a big blockbuster clash between Australian women and Indian women's team in Visakh, and the match will commence Bangladeshi Standard Time 3:30 p.m. and 9:30 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And let me know in the comment box which team you are supporting between Australian women and Indian women. And don't forget to subscribe Third Umpire Cricket for more cricket analysis. But in this video, I will talk about Australian women's team and Indian women's team powerhouses. These two, we have seen a lot of depth of clash between these two sides over the years. 51 one-day international matches played between these two sides. And look at the numbers. Australian cricket team, they're dominating. They're way better than Indian women's team with a head-to-head record. 41 wins under their belt, and Indian women's team have won against Australian women's team only 10 occasions. As Indian women's team are playing in front of their own backyard, their crowd will support them for every runs, for every wickets. They will cheer for Indian women's team, and for Australian women's team, it will be a test of temperament, test of nerve. And already they have passed the nerve. Way they have found themselves against New Zealand women's team and Pakistan women's team. I think we are yet to see the best cricket from Australian women's team. Their top order, Elisa Haley, has been struggling for runs, but Phoebe Litchfield, she has been going really well. And the icon of women's cricket, star of women's cricket, Elise Perry, she has been the epitome of women's cricket as an all-rounder. She has been doing significantly well for last 1 decade for Australian women's team. And Beth Mooney, what a player she is. Under immense pressure, she can produce and stunning innings. That kind of capability she has. She has proved it again and again in many occasions for Australian women's team. Annabelle Sutherland, the right-handed batsman and right-arm fast fast bowler. She has been, delivering the goods for Elisa Haley with the ball and with the bat. And Ash Gardner, what a player she is. With the new ball, she has been bowling as a spinner, and with the bat, and we all know how devastating she is as a middle order batsman. And they have a lot of batting depth. Talia Megra, who is also all-rounder batsman. And I think ahead of India's clash, they will bring Sophie Molyneux because she's a left-handed bowling all-rounder, especially Indian women's team. They have been struggling against left-handed spinners already. 12 batsmen have been dismissed in this edition of ICC Women's World Cup 2025 against left-handed spinners. Against left-handed spinner, Indian women have found themselves vulnerable. South African women's team, they have done the trick against Indian women's cricket team. Let's see what kind of plan Australian cricket team will, execute against Indian women's team. I'm sure Elisa Haley, she is a, gun cricketer, and she has a very good cricketing knowledge. She will bring Sophie Molyneux against Indian women's team. Alana King is a right-arm leg spinner. She has been tremendous touch in this edition of ICC Women's World Cup 2025. With the bat, she has contributed for Australian women's team other day against Pakistan women's, and she is a relatively very good bowler. We all know about her. Leg spinner is always on in the game. They have two fast bowlers, Megan Shute, right-arm fast bowler, and Kim Gart. Kim Gart especially, she has been the impeccable fast bowler for Australian women's cricket team. She has been taking wickets regularly, although Megan Shute has found herself, a lot expensive. Let's talk about Indian women's cricket team's form in this edition of ICC Women's World Cup 2025. Srimati Mandana, left-handed elegant batsman. She has all the shots on her book, and I think she is someone, I think in her given day, she can destroy anything. She's a world-class player, no doubt about that. And their captain, the powerhouse of Indian women's cricket team, Harmanpreet Kaur. She is also a very dangerous player, but he's yet to get off the mark in this tournament. We haven't seen any powerful innings from Harmanpreet Kaur as well. They have Zemima Rodriguez in the middle order, but the biggest strength of Indian women's cricket team is the lower order. Other day we have witnessed against South African cricket team. After Indian women's team one stage, they were 127 for 6 against South African women's cricket team. I think at that stage, they have scored 250 runs. So all credit goes to Richa Ghosh, right-handed wicketkeeper batsman. The powerful hard hitter of the cricket ball. I think she has played an innings. It was a marvelous innings, no doubt about that. She has produced under immense pressure. She has played a really good innings against South African cricket team. With the ball, Deepti Sharma, probably their go-to bowler. Harmanpreet Kaur always, she has been backing her really well over the years. Very experienced player for Indian women's cricket team, all-rounder, right-arm off spinner. She can bat as well, and she has been delivering the goods for Indian women's team for a long period of time. They have Sneh Rana, another right-arm off-break bowler. Sri Charani, left-arm orthodox spinner. Kranti Goth has been amongst the wickets. She has been superb for Indian women's cricket team as a new ball bowler. She has been providing breakthrough every now and then when Indian teams required a wicket, and she has been breaking the partnership regular intervals. She has been providing breakthrough, I would rather say. I think she took an absolutely blinder of a catch of her own bowling against South African women's team to get rid of Tasneem Brits. It was absolutely a stunning catch, isn't that? As a cricket lover, we are expecting a gripping contest between Australian women and Indian women's team. I think against Indian women's team, it will be, as I said earlier, it will be a test of temperament for Australian women's team. I think to subdue Indian women's team, they have to be there really good, especially from the top order. They need contribution. Elisa Haley, Australian leader, Phoebe Litchfield, left-handed elegant batsman, and Ellis Perry, all-round cricketer. They have to rise to the occasion against big match. This is going to be a big match for Australian women's team as well. On the other hand, after a dramatic defeat over South African cricket team, it would be really interesting to see how Indian women's cricket team react against Australian women's team. This will be a test of nerve for Indian women's team too. They had a shocking defeat. One stage we all started to think this is going to be easy win for Indian women's team, but where South African cricketers turn things around, it was simply probably we have witnessed the best game so far in this tournament, especially with the bat. Nadine de Klerk was simply outstanding innings she has played. So let's see who prevails between Australian women's team and Indian women's team. And I think Australian women's team has the edge over Indian women's team. But we are expecting a great clash between these two cricket powerhouses. It's all for today. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy.